UK Social Media Awards 2022 finalists. Best use of LinkedIn, growth and awareness. And here I thought he was a finalist for the best looking beard. Maybe that's another award that's coming up. You might know him from all his Microsoft Dynamics videos, social posts on LinkedIn, or you might know him from his beard. It doesn't matter because he's a really cool guy you should follow. Joining me today is Matt, the guy Batterbee, Global Head of Business Application at Ingram Micro. Now, for a quick interruption, a huge shout out to our friends at Veeam for sponsoring this episode. Veeam Backup for AWS can easily protect all of your Amazon EC2, RDS, and VPC data. Wait a second. They can protect my VPC data too? Yep, that's right. Simplify AWS backup and recovery while ensuring security and compliance. All right, now back to our episode. Now, before I bring Matt onto the show, grab yourself a beer, a beard, and don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify because guess what? We're going to have a grand old time. Please join me in welcoming Matt Batterbee, Global Head of Business Applications at Ingram Micro. Matt, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. And I'm loving the shirt. It's definitely keeping with the Miami spirit. I've got my Cloud Summit pushed right here.
I did the same thing.
We're still not over Miami. We still want to be there. That's it.
Well, you know what? I actually got a chance to slightly run into you at Miami, but at the time, we were following each other. And that just happened recently, but we didn't recognize each other. I'm like, I think that's him, but I'm going to be shy. I won't say anything. So
this is it. When you see people on LinkedIn or on video, you think you know what they look like. And then you see them. Is that them? His beard's a little bit bigger or more trim than his photo. I don't know.
Actually, I recognized you from your personality. You came and you were like shy. You were just like happy, so full of energy. And then I recognized the beard.
It's a staple now. I can't get rid of it. It's just a staple of me.
I have to wait a little bit. Mine comes in a little too dark with the black hair. I'll wait. We will compete at one. I thought about buying one though for this show on Amazon. I had sent you one. I was like, well, I could get one and be the next Matt.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, let's jump into a little bit of thing. We already got to do it. I want the audience to get to know Matt and who he is and where he's come from and really how he got into tech. So how about you give us a little bit of your backstory, a little information, and let's go from there.
Yeah, I mean, as John introduced me, I'm the Global Head of Business Applications at Ingram Micro. So my role is essentially building our go-to-market strategy, supporting our countries all over the world with Microsoft Dynamics 365, Power Platform. As you can see, bit of a Microsoft guy. I'm not gonna shy away from that.
I actually asked him to take the hat off before the show. Just a minute. There you go.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny, I kind of fell into this crazy industry. And if you'd have told me when I left school, it's funny, I'm presenting at some schools in the next couple of weeks, and I've been building this presentation out, and I've got a picture of me as a school leaver, which I won't show. There's no beard, funnily enough, when I'm 15 years old. I would never have thought I'd have been in tech at all. I thought I was going to be fitness industry or in the army. That was my, and it didn't work out for many different reasons and choices and things like that. And I moved into the call center space. It's a lot of people's first office job, working in a call center. There's a lot of people I talk to that have had similar experiences, and they do the sales stuff. And I just kind of fell in love with talking to people and doing sales and targets and all that kind of stuff. And again, I thought, okay, I could maybe be a call center manager. And I went to another business and helped build a call center from nothing into something. And then that was my sort of entry into tech. It was a connected car data company, and they're the leading connected car data company in the world right now. And I tend to peek in, on LinkedIn. I kind of peek in at what those guys are doing, and I'm always amazed by what they're doing. Really, the innovation and everything. Like the CEO of that company is 10 years ahead of so many other people. It's crazy. And that was my opening into smart cities and cars talking to one another and all this cool stuff. And then that company just wasn't for me in the long run. Kind of just wasn't a good fit there after a couple of years. And then I just stumbled across a Microsoft role. Not gonna lie, didn't really know it was a Microsoft role when I applied. But it was.
Would you have applied if you knew it was a Microsoft role?
Oh, it's an interesting one. Do you know what? If they'd have put, yeah, I probably wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have because you think Microsoft, well, they're not going to employ me. But at the time, I was a sales manager managing a team of like 20, 30 business developers, and then went for my interview. It's funny. I actually argued during my interview as well because someone tried to tell me I was wrong about something that I knew I was right about, and I was like, I'm not backing down on this, and that actually impressed them in the long run that I wouldn't back down in my interview. So I was a Microsoft contractor on an 18-month contract, and I kind of fell into the whole Dynamics piece. We were doing really well in what we were doing in our team, but we had 3 Microsoft 365 guys and 1 Azure guy in our team. And we were working with the distributors. So your Ingram micros, your Tech Datas, and all those other guys. And then they said, this is going well. Nobody's doing Dynamics. Who wants to do it? It was kind of one of those hold my beer moments, and I'll do it. And then the rest is history. I fell in love with the tech because of my background in sales and customer service and and building call centers. It was kind of, if I'd have had Dynamics, when I started to learn about Dynamics, I was like, if I would have had Dynamics, my life would have been easier. And that's what made me kind of fall in love with the tech. And I was like, other businesses need to know about this stuff. And then when the opportunity came up to move to Ingram, and it's funny, I got no shame in saying it. When I was at Microsoft, Ingram were my biggest headache because I loved all the people. They were all great, but they didn't have a Dynamics person. So I was kind of going in there and everyone was going, I was going to start talking to us again about Dynamics and all these other things. But straight away I thought, well, I could be that guy. I could be the Dynamics guy at Ingram in the UK. And then it quickly evolved into a global role and now heading up the overall global business. That's a bit of a whistle-stop tour into how I landed into this and fell in love with it.
All right, I'm going to back up a little bit because you mentioned the Army, but you didn't tell people that you were in there and what happened. You want to share?
Yeah, no problem. So it's funny because before that, when I was 18, I became a gym instructor. I did
Oh man, I wanted to talk about your fitness stuff too. All right, you could go to either one.
No, right. But then basically kind of short story, we'll come back to it if you want. But I kind of thought, okay, I've done this for 2 years. I don't know if I want to do it forever. I could go in the Army for 4 years. Like that's like your minimum service. I'll go and do that. That could either be my career. If not, I can get PT courses while I'm in the Army, come out and be a much better PT and just beast people like the Army do. And then, so I'd signed up, joined the Welsh Guards. I think it was like 5-6 months of training and then kind of sprained my ankle like quite bad. But I was already having doubts as to whether the Welsh Guards was right for me, like that regiment. Because when you're in that training environment and you go through the basic training, which I'd kind of almost got through, and then you go on to your infantry training. And if you're going to do, I don't know, like you're going to be a mechanic or whatever, you'd go on and do your mechanics training after you do your basic training. And people start to talk and kind of, it's a crazy environment. People will get in your head because you're sleep deprived, you're away from family and friends. They're the only people that are talking. So when people start saying like, I'm going to go do logistics, I'm going to go do this, it starts to sound interesting. You start to go, did I just jump into the infantry because that's the Army, it's the infantry, So I was already kind of thinking about moving regiment anyway. But then when this injury happened, I was kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. They gave me like a 6-month, you can join back up in 6 months. And then that 6 months went by. I'm not one for sitting around. So I got a job in a supermarket and I was limping around that shop for the first few weeks. My ankle was still bad. And then sort of 5.5 months down the line, I got a job, my call center job. And I was kind of like, this is cool. I'm earning pretty good money at the time. There was like commission involved and stuff. And I was always, I'm going to be the top sales guy. I'm going to be the top guy and earn the most money. I was like, and people gave me, my parents, when I said, oh, I'm going to go and work in an office, I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, they are the most supportive parents I've ever had. But on this decision, we give it a week. They were like, you are like, you're destined for like the army or fitness or something. Like we give it a week. And I'm not lying, they are the most supportive parents ever, but they're just very honest as well. And even today, 10 years on or however long it's been, a bit longer, they're still amazed at how far I've come, just being like an office worker in the business world, you know? But yeah, so the army just wasn't meant to be, but I'm glad I tried it, because I wish there was some way that everyone could go and do just 6 months, because you learn what you can do. And you just learn so many skills like communication. And all right, every other word is a swear word or a curse word, but like you learn communication. There's so many skills that you learn in that 6 months, but a lot of it is mental, like what you can cope with. You know, when it's 5 a.m. and you want to go to bed, you still haven't been to bed, and you know you're gonna have to get up in half an hour, but your shoes aren't shiny enough. You take them to the sergeant and say, are these good? And they go, no. you just want to crawl up into a ball. But so you really learn what you can put your mind through as well. And yeah, that's an experience that I'll always kind of cherish, even that short period of time that I was there.
At any point, did you ever regret not going back?
It's a good question. I think, yeah, there's certain times. So like we've just had the Jubilee in the UK, and I love watching Troop of the Colour, because like that's the guards, the Welsh Guards, the Grenadier Guards, and so on. And I watched that, and I'm kind of like, that could have been me. Like I could have been there, like family watching and stuff like that. So it's funny. It's not the fighting side of it, where I'm like, oh, I could have been in Afghanistan or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And I was always excited about that. Like I was told right at the beginning, like my regiment that I would be going into, we'd be in Afghanistan like a few weeks later. So it was like pass out from the army, happy, and then go to war basically.
Yeah.
And I was excited about that. But yeah, so now looking back, it's those kind of ceremonies where I see them in their tunics looking amazing. It makes you proud to be British, I'll say. But yeah, it's those moments where I'm like, that would have been cool. And I've seen guys that I was in training with, some have come out now and stuff, and they've got photos, you know, of the Queen walking in front of them and looking at their uniform and moving on and stuff. I'm like, that's cool. So it's more the ceremonial side of it that I'm like, that would have been cool to experience properly.
It's a lot of respect. Something you go through and you look at it and you're like, man, those are the times you miss or you think about it. I've been there too. Now was never in the army, but I'm thinking, you know, watching someone, you know, those people, I respect them. And, you know, you think about like, oh, maybe that's something I should have done. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
What about this fitness instructor? By the way, you're definitely a person I would see as a fitness instructor, and really, I would say the army type where like it's hardcore. You get them in there, but people respect you for it. We're doing this before you join the army. I know we're jumping all over the place, but I got to talk about this because I'm a huge fitness person.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I joined the gym when I was 13 years old, something like that. We had an under 16s gym. My mum and dad went to the adults gym, and I was playing inline hockey. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, ice hockey, but on wheels and not on ice, basically. And I was started to play for Great Britain, and very quickly when you start to play against other countries and you go, and even at, you know, under 14s level, you kind of go, I'm quite small for an, you know, there's some big 14-year-olds in the world, you know, especially when you're 13 years old. And I was at an age as well where like I could play up to the under 16s team Great Britain. So I was doing that as well in certain places, and I'm playing for Wales, and I'm playing at club level as well. I was lucky that I grew up in an era where health and safety just didn't matter. So it was like I was 13, 14 years old playing men's hockey just because I was a good player and could keep up with them. But you get beaten up. Like you can't keep up physically. You can outskate them, but if they catch you, you're in pain. So I joined the gym, and just fell in love with like everything that you could do in the gym. It was an under 16s gym, so there was lots of fun stuff as well. It was a proper gym, but they had like, triathlon challenges on the wall, and I would see, whoever, it was like rowing machine for X amount of distance, runner, and bike. And I just saw that. I was like, okay, I'm going to beat every single person on that board. And I was like, as I say, 13 years old, beating 16-year-olds in these challenges and stuff. And I was like, loving it. Press ups a lot. And in school as well, I did physical education for we call it GCSEs in the UK, like end of school exams, we'll say. And then I knew I was going to go on to college to do another, it was sports development, fitness and coaching. I really enjoyed the coaching side. As I started getting a bit older, and I was 16 years old, I'd go and coach the kids hockey and stuff like that, and got a kick out of seeing them improve, get better, and all those kind of things. So definitely had a passion for that kind of just helping people achieve their goals and get to where they want to go, And then as I was coming out of my college course, and I was still working in a supermarket while I was in college, and I was 18 years old, and I'd been on that since I was 16. And then a job came up. Basically, a few people left the gym that I went to since I was 13 years old. People started leaving that gym, moving on in their careers and stuff. So the job came up. I was like, I'm definitely going to apply. Like, it's been my gym since I was like a child for like 5 years at this point. And I went to the interview, they hired me, and I loved it. I got to do fitness classes, did a lot of high intensity stuff. We did outdoor I was doing outdoor classes before it was cool. Like, I was out on the beach and stuff before everyone seems to be doing that now. So this is going back 12 years, something like that.
We don't have to date you. You don't have to call out how old you are. I'm just
kidding. Yeah. So it was, and I just loved it. I loved that, helping people achieve their goals, helping people, whether that's losing weight, improving strength, getting fit, whatever their goal was. I got a kick out of it. And you can see I'm a loud, positive guy, and I really enjoyed doing the classes. But what I would always do is do the class with them. So if it was like a circuit training class, I was like, I'm involved as well. So they could see me getting tired and sweaty and just joining in and proving that I'm not going to make anyone do something that I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
But again, it was one of those things. I just kind of thought, don't know if it's a career. For me personally, I was just kind of, there was something missing. There was just, I enjoyed it, but I felt like I wanted more.
Yeah.
I
gotcha. All right. I like that we understand, who Matt is, by the way. Fitness, Army, supermarket. Now you're at Ingram Micro. How did you get to this career where you're at? And, actually, let's talk about your social career, because I want to talk about Miami in a couple minutes, because I didn't wear this not to talk about it. But how did you get to Ingram Micro and your social following? Because you have over like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I don't even think you're keeping track. It's just people are following you, and I'm one. So
yeah, thank you. It was when I left Microsoft. I mean, you're at Microsoft, and I appreciate this, and it's not something to go to talk down about, but I understand that when you're at Microsoft, you have if you're at an event, you are Microsoft. I'm not Matt Batterbee. I'm Microsoft. And if I say something, like let's say about all these changes going on right now, if I was to say, well, in my opinion, they could do this better, that becomes Microsoft's opinion. So you have to be very careful about what you say, how you say it, and those kind of things. And so when I joined Ingram, it was funny. In my I wouldn't really call it an interview, but in my discussion before joining the company, I did kind of joke and say, in terms of social media, what can I do to help this business grow? And the response I got was like, whatever you want. So I said, okay, I'm going to test you on that. I will challenge you on that, but I'm going to do whatever I want then. And straight away, what I wanted to do was just bring out my personality. I felt like just over a year at Microsoft, not that my personality went, it's just you have to rein it in a little bit. If you're on a panel and you're representing Microsoft, you just feel, and you know what, it's quite a nice feeling. You feel quite prestigious. It's like, I work for Microsoft. It's quite a cool thing to say. Everyone knows who Microsoft is. When I say Ingram Micro, I have to explain it. Yeah. Everyone knows who Microsoft is, so there's that as well. But so when I joined Ingram, I just really wanted to get our personality out there. And then what it was as well, I started learning more about other value adds that Ingram had. I was so focused on the dynamic space, and I was so focused at coming at it from a Microsoft point when I used to go in there as Microsoft. When I started learning about Ingram, I was a bit like head bashing against the wall saying, why don't I know about this? Just from looking on LinkedIn. Like, I follow you on LinkedIn already and I don't know any of this stuff. I've been coming in here for over a year. I don't know any of this stuff that you do. So I really wanted to get that out there. And then I also wanted to, in terms of Microsoft, I wanted to do like educational videos that are a bit funny and a bit just different and a bit less boring. Like, cloud technology, as much as I geek over it, it could be very boring. If you let it be and you do the boring demos and you click here, it can get really dull. So I wanted to just be a little bit different, put myself out there, and also let people get to know me, and it's worked a lot in terms of, creating a following and that kind of stuff. And again, that wasn't something I even thought about. I was driving Ingram's messaging and Microsoft's messaging, not my messaging. Like, I was just the channel, if you like, of getting that messaging out. But some of the videos that I've done, I did a series of videos where I compared something in the gym to dynamics. And like, I don't know how I did it, but some of the videos were quite funny at the time. And a partner actually messaged me, and I forget the name now, and said, love your video, I want to work with you. And that was the beginning of a good relationship in terms of them coming and working with Ingram and so on. So people have responded really more positively than negatively. There's been some negative stuff, which I just ignore. And you're not going to please everyone. But yeah, it's been good. And I'm starting to see more and more people now doing similar stuff. And it's not even copying, because it's their personality. And that's my point, is it's just be you, and people will respond to that quite well. And also what I wanted to get away from was scripted. Like, yeah, I know about what I'm going to say half the time, but I wanted to get away from, okay, I'm going to read from a script and I'm going to sit still and I'm going to be all prim and proper. It's like, I'm quite handsy when I talk, if you can tell. And it's like being real, and yeah. And then it was one of them all of a sudden, because I started doing just posts and they started getting likes and stuff. And I was like, this is cool. And then I started doing some blogs because, again, I've got a certain way of speaking, and I'll type. When you read one of my blogs, you can tell I wrote it. Like, it's not been wrote by someone professional. It's definitely been wrote by me. Every time I posted a blog, someone said to me, oh, there's a spelling mistake. And I was like, good, you read it and you saw the spelling mistake. Like, fine, I don't care. Like, you read it, you understood it, you've pointed out, you got to the last paragraph, well done. And then I thought, okay, these blogs are taking, say it took me 45 minutes to write a blog, and then I'd read it back and go, that took me 3 minutes to read. Why don't I just say it? Why don't I just read this stuff out? So you'll see now I go the other way and I do less blogs and more videos. And I've spotted that the videos tend to get thousands of views, whereas a blog might get 20 to 50 reads. Yeah. I think one of my best read blogs was about a Microsoft change or something like that, and it was still only in the hundreds, whereas I did a video on it and it gets into the thousands. I'm like, okay, this resonates better than reading, I'll do that. And yeah, and then, we spoke about it before. Someone about 8 months ago said they wanted to do a personal branding course and asked me for my advice. I was like, personal branding, what's that? It's like, oh, it's this thing I've been doing for 2 years and didn't realize it had a name. But yeah, I just enjoy it. And as long as I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, you can see that in me,
First, one of the things that you and I actually talked about before we even started clicking record, and a couple of weeks ago when we were planning this, is that this conversation is unscripted. I have some bullet points I'm going to talk about, but where it goes, it goes. You never know what happens next. Now, I have some things at the top of my mind I want to talk to you about, like something you spelled out in pens, if that's all right, and some, our Miami event. But really, this is all about the conversation, the personalization of it. You also indicated, actually, there was a speaking thing that you did, a panel you did in Miami.
Yeah.
That they're like, oh, you know what? Let's get to this. I gotta get to this because they asked you, what did they ask you? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you know what? And you're like, what do you mean? Like, I'm just here to talk about this. Can you tell everybody? Because I think this goes to your personality and why people watch a lot of your videos is because your personal branding, just like anybody else's who does this, it's just natural. Be you, whoever you are, all the time, and you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah, so we did a panel the day before. So it was Cloud Summit Miami Ingram event. Day before, we did a bit of an invite only sort of panel session. We had people from Microsoft, people from Ingram, and obviously the panelists arrived a bit early just to set up and get your seat and everything. And people start almost rehearsing, and I was kind of like, "What's everyone rehearsing?" Like, well, the questions. I said, "Oh, what questions am I being asked then?" And the panic on their face was like, because I hadn't prepared. And I kind of was like, well, you're not going to ask me about astrophysics. You're probably going to ask me about dynamics or something like that. If I don't know the answer, I shouldn't be here. So, and then I kind of was like, let me know my two questions. And then they told me, I was like, okay, yeah, I can make that up as the time comes. I know what I'm talking about. It's fine. But yeah, again, I think it comes across more natural if it's not scripted, and a few people came up to me after that panel session. I was I got up, I stood up with the mic, and I was like kind of wanted to not, because I was at the end in the corner where people couldn't see me, so I stood up and answered my questions. And a few people came up to me and said it was good to have some bit more lively in those panels, because sometimes those panel sessions can be just that. It's a panel session.
Yeah,
it's very professional, but sometimes people just want a bit more realism to it. So yeah, I enjoy doing that, and it's like, I remember when I was at an event, and I know you didn't ask me about this, but I did an event in
you can talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah, so I did an event in Milan last year. It was Directions and Myer, and it was funny, because it wasn't their fault, it wasn't my fault. There was a different global lead at the time when we were arranging this. Then COVID happened. It delayed everything. So, and they don't know this, but they will if they watch this. I didn't know I was doing a keynote the next day. So I get told I'm going to watch the football or soccer with some people the night before the event. And we're talking. And then this woman, Vicky, from one of our partners said, "Oh, just so you know, in the morning, I'm handing off to you." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "During the keynote, you're on at 9 a.m. in front of like 2,000 people." I said, "It's the first I've heard of it." He said, "Yep." And I was like, "Oh, okay, right." So I said, "Do I need to build slides?" She was like, "Yeah, a couple of slides." I was like, "Okay, I can do that at like 11 o'clock tonight. That's fine. I can email them over. That's not a problem." But what was funny was the next day we arrive at the event, and I'm fine. I know how to talk about Ingram and what we're doing and things. And that was part of the keynote. And what was funny was we did a rehearsal before that, and I watched the Microsoft guys do their rehearsal. Very professional, a proper rehearsal. And then when I watched it, an hour later when they were live, it was like they were saying the exact same thing. I stood up on stage and just went, "Check, 1, 2, can you hear me?" And like people went, "Yeah." And then I just stood there on my phone for 15 minutes because I was like, whatever I say now is going to be completely different in a couple of hours' time. So there is no point in me doing a rehearsal. So I think there's like photos of me on LinkedIn just on the stage, empty, just taking selfies because I didn't know what else to do. So I was just like videoing. I was like, I'm going to be talking in front of all these people. And at the end, someone comments was like, have you done your rehearsal? I was like, yeah, I know. I'm good. I'm fine. But yeah, I can't.
I did my selfie. I'm good.
Yeah,
we rehearsed it.
There you go. I'm rehearsed. So yeah, I'm not a rehearsed guy. I just can't do it.
Yeah, sorry, man. I'm getting a kick out of this conversation. This is freaking cool. Wait. I know you're not at another event, or at least to next year, wherever it is. You and I got to get together. We got to do either a panel or recording live in person.
Yeah.
This would be, if I'm ever over your way, I will carve out some time. We will do something.
Hey, we've got a beautiful castle that just over there. There's a nice castle on a hill. That's my view out of my office. That's a good recording spot. You can see the beach. It'll be a beautiful, beautiful podcast for us to do live.
Excuse me, Ingram, would you mind sponsoring a trip for me to come out there and do a recording? Trust me, it will be well worth it socially. I'm just letting you know. And if you want to sponsor one of these videos, let me know. Okay, let's talk about Miami, because that's actually where you and I don't want to say got a chance to know each other. Got a chance to know each other socially. Yeah. We were both at the Ingram Micro event in Miami, mid-May, something like that. It was actually a last-minute invite for me, which was fine because I've only been to Miami once, and it was a hotel room. I did a lot of social stuff. I got to meet so many Ingram folks. It was great. I mean, I can name them all, like Tad, Mike, Drew. They were just, everybody was so awesome. It was a great event. I'm hoping to attend next year's event, but this was Miami. And the reason I want to talk about it is because both of us have some pillows here, and no, Ingram, you cannot have these back, because there was at the end, there were sponsored events, and there was an AWS one, and I posted on social, and I was like, hey, how can I get one of these? And when I left to another one of the closing events and came back, I saw people walking out with them, and I was like, no, I wanted one. This one came from the Ritz, but we won't say.
I tried another little story. I tried getting one on the first night. We were at one of the hotels, and then there was like welcome drinks for EMEA. I mean, there was more Americans there than people from EMEA, but they called it an EMEA welcome drinks. And I was chatting to someone at the end of the night, and then I was sat on this like sofa, and I'm like, I really like this cushion. And then the security at the hotel, not that we were doing anything wrong, they just at midnight, like everyone that's not staying in the hotel has to leave. So he comes over and he says, he goes, are you staying here? I said, no. He said, okay, you've got to leave. I was like, yeah, no problem. I turn around to go and steal the cushion. He just looked at me, and this is midnight. I've had a few beers at this point. I just fluffed it and put it back down. like that's a perfectly normal thing to do.
Oh, and, excuse me. This is a British thing to do. Don't worry.
Yeah. We're polite people. You sit down, you fluff it. Give me a vacuum, and I'll vacuum the sofa after.
Oh man. So by the way, that event was really cool. I reached out to you, and I forget what on LinkedIn. I was like, Matt, I got to talk to you. You want to join my podcast? We had a conversation. What was it? It was maybe a week after the event.
Yeah.
Right. We were planning this. Then we rescheduled, or you know what? I think the Jubilee was happening, and then we rescheduled it. What's going on? But it's super awesome to have you here on the show and just talk about Matt and everything about you and how you've come from some of those. Can I ask about the pen thing, or can we have to cut that out? You know what you spelled in pens?
Oh yeah.
Come on. You did it socially. I think that we can talk about it. Can we?
Yeah. So I was at an event in
This is where you tested Ingram's like social stuff, right?
Yeah. This is the amount of messages I got from people at Ingram saying like, how do you get away with this? And I don't know. Maybe nobody looks. Maybe all the marketing people just go, we can't look because it's too painful. But yeah, I was at an event, and whenever I go to an event, like I was at, like I said, I was in that event in Milan, and I had my little booth, and I just I'm not really a swag. I love getting swag, but the logistics of picking up swag and taking it to an event, especially when I was on my own at this event as well in Milan, so I just didn't take anything, and I kind of put a video out saying like, if you want to come here for swag, you're not going to get it, but if you want to come here for value, you're going to get it with me. Anyway, I went to this event in Anaheim, and because we're close then to the Irvine office, it was easy to get swag like water bottles and all this other stuff. And we had like 1,000 pens or something ridiculous. In fact,
a couple of pens
with a brand in here. Oh no, that's a Hyatt Regency pen. It's probably from the same hotel, but it's not an Ingram pen. So I had 1,000 pens, and I don't even have one. But anyway, we had these pens, and we had this like booth table. I was like, I don't really know how to make pens look good. Just dump them on a table. So I spell out. Now I will caveat this with, I'm really good friends with the Dynamics director at Tech Data. So I'm going to start with that. He knows I'm a joker, but I spell out Tech Data sucks in the pens, and then did a video, and I was like, oh, come to the Ingram booth if I said there's no hidden messages here or anything at all, and then all the while in the background you could just see tech data sucks written on it. And they weren't even at the event. But yeah, I got a message of someone saying, I hate that I like you from tech data. So yeah, but the amount of messages I got of people from Ingram saying, how do you get away with this? Like, because it's me. Like, I don't know. Everyone knows I'm joking. Like, you know, I was at an event in Orlando a few months ago, and I spent we had like an evening party. It was pretty cool. It was at the Universal Studios in Orlando. It was we hired out a restaurant, and then we went into the Harry Potter world. I spent the entire night with two guys from SureWeb, one of our biggest competitors in North America. Just we went on the Harry Potter ride like 10 times together. We just ran around. And I spent a lot of time with them. And I think it's good when competitors can talk to one another, have a bit of a laugh and a joke. I think it works, and it only benefits the partners when that can happen. And I mean, there's events coming up where the free kind of key sponsors will be us and two of our competitors. And I've said, you know, I've even suggested, well, we could do separate sessions where we all talk about the same stuff, or we do one joint session and have a lot of fun with it. You know, I don't mind rocking up in boxing gear if it makes it entertaining. Like, let's do something different, you know? So yeah, I enjoy getting on with competitors. But yeah, the pens, yeah, that was good fun.
I could say it's your personality. How could somebody be upset with you? You're always positive, full of energy. That was actually one of the notes that I saw on LinkedIn where, you know, Matt, your energy level is always high. You're always smiling, having a good time. And I think you carry that wherever you go, whatever podcast, recording event, and people look forward to that. And they're like, I can see coming into like a board meeting, right? And everybody's all, you know, spiff and ready to go, and it's serious. And there comes Matt coming in, and they're like, all right, this is going to be awesome. We're going to get some shit done, you know?
Yeah, this is it. I'm like a bulldozer when it comes to those kind of meetings. I mean, we've got a lot right now of like FY23 planning meetings going on, and it'll be all very serious. And then I'll just put in like the box, like, you know, oh, if in the chat box, like a GIF of Scrooge McDuck. And I'm like, if this works, this will be us in 12 months. Like, I love having fun with it, you know? But again, you know, I'm the same person, whether I'm speaking with our, you know, our senior vice president of cloud, Victor, or I'm speaking with Duncan, or whoever I'm talking to, like whatever level, I'm the same person. So, you know, the CEO you can have the same conversation with me as an account manager or whatever. Like, yeah, with me, what you see is what you get. And that was, you know, another reason for the whole LinkedIn videos and stuff. It's like, I want people to know that, like, with me, what you see is what you get. And, you know, I've had people try and say, you know, oh, maybe there's some polishing.
How's that go over?
My answer, you know, everyone can improve in certain places. I'll happily take criticism. There's things that I can improve, maybe communication, maybe, you know, there might be things that I can improve on, but the polishing piece, I'm like, okay, if I have to polish to further my career, then I need to further my career elsewhere. That's as simple as that for me. You know, it's like, I'm not gonna, because the amount of events I've been to, and you know, Cloud Summit was the perfect event for me to kind of go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm good. As I am, you know, because the amount of people that came up to me that work for Ingram that I've never met, some people 3 months into the company, some people, you know, 3 years, 10 years into the company, and they come up to me and say, thank you for everything you're doing. It's really working for us, and it really helps us. And people coming up to me asking for selfies, which was really embarrassing.
Like, I miss myself. I didn't get one with you. Darn it.
So, like, it made me realize, you know what, I'm helping a lot of people. So I'd rather be that guy, and also the guy that they can come up to and ask for a selfie and ask for a conversation. Because if I was the suit, I don't look approachable. I want to be the approachable person in that role that can really help everyone around the world, you know, in our company and our partners. And I think I'm doing that, you know.
Oh yeah, you're definitely doing an excellent job. When I went to Miami, these were the types of shirts I wore. First day, I think there might have been 1 or 2 other people with them. Second day, yeah, I would say we're getting into about a 40%. By the third day, I would say 90% of people were like me. And, you know, I just wanted to be that guy, but like, I had people, nice shirt, I like that. And those are the people that were like, I wish I did that, or, I didn't feel that I needed. You need to feel to be you and just be you. And just like you're doing, approachable, just come up and like have a good time. Like we're inviting Matt to this because it would be great.
And this is it. The event I went to in Orlando. Now, granted, it was all in one hotel. It was well air conditioned, so like jeans and a shirt was fine. And I'm always kind of Ingram branded, and I had my Ingram on. But I saw one guy in shorts, and I just went over to him. I was like, "You are the only person with a brain at this event, because we're in Orlando. It's like 30 degrees or something outside Celsius. I'm a British person.
That's all right.
Whatever that is in Fahrenheit, very hot. And you're in shorts, you've got your shades on, you look chilled. You're here to learn, you're here to be at the event." And then you'd see people coming in. And again, if people are comfortable in shirt and tie, you be you,
Yep.
But I was really jealous of this guy wearing shorts. I was like, yeah, I need to do that next year. Just wear shorts.
You could always find me at any event. I will be in shorts. Even if it's cold. We were in Chicago, and I'm in a conference center. It's heated. I will be in shorts and comfortable. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, this is it. When we came out of lockdown, and I genuinely had to be like, I don't know if I can't remember where my jeans are. Like I'm a shorts guy as well. I live in shorts regardless of the weather. Even if it's quite cold, I'll wear like a hoodie and shorts. Yep. I'll keep top half warm. I'm wearing
right after my own heart.
And I was going down to the office. I can't remember what for. I think it was to pick up a new laptop or something like that, and then have a bit of a meeting. I was like, I'm gonna have to put like jeans on to sit in the car for like 3 hours or whatever. So did that, and then I was just like, what? I should have just worn my shorts. Like I was so much more comfortable in shorts. So I think in Vegas you might see me in shorts, probably getting chased by someone who's like an executive that I'm destroying by wearing shorts. But
as long as you wear the hat, you'll be good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's it. I'll be on brand. It's fine.
That's it. Now, I'm going to wrap things up, but I think we need another session. I got to get a little more personal with you. I want to know about your tattoos. I'm curious.
Oh, so they started out, they meant something. So I don't know if you like ice hockey, but I was obsessed with the film Miracle. So my first tattoo was the saying, "Great moments are born from great opportunity," from the film.
Yeah.
A great quote. So that was my first one. I also got it on the wrist because I Googled where's the least painful place to get a tattoo, and it's the wrist. So I was like, okay, if we're going to do this, we'll do the least painful place and we'll see how this ends up. So that was my first one. And then I started getting tattoos that mean something. So I've got like my family tree.
Nice.
So name, and then family tree. So I've got initials of my brothers, my mum and dad. Then I've got, this is my nana and granddad who I never met. But it's their song. And then they used to go dancing. So it's like a silhouette of them dancing.
Oh.
So I started getting tattoos that meant something.
Yeah.
And then one day it was my tattoo artist said, she put a Facebook post on. I was like, I've got a slot tomorrow, 2 hours. Nobody, who wants it? So I was the first. I was like, I want it. She said, you win. What do you want? I said, I don't know. Just tell me tomorrow. So I ended up with Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie on my arm.
Nice. Well, that resonates with a lot of folks, though. I mean, so
I got that. I've got one of that's my old hockey team that I used to play for, and then a tournament that we played in. I've got my little nephew. I've got an infinity symbol and then his initials as well. I've got Donald Duck. I got a Beauty and the Beast one for my wife. We've also got the date that we became like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh,
so she's got the same tattoo but smaller, more petite.
Wait, it doesn't cover her.
No. What she was really bummed about with this tattoo was I paid the same price for my tattoo and hers is really small.
Oh.
I think it was because I might have lied or got the price wrong that they charged her and said something. Yeah, so I got it the same price. And then a good friend of mine became a tattoo artist. So I just started getting some stuff on my chest. I've got my wife's name. You can kind of see it big there. But then a friend of mine, like I went in, I was like, I really want like a rose here next to my wife's name, a rose. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I go in, he was quite new to tattooing at the time. And he said, I really want to tattoo a skull on someone. And I was like, okay. So are we doing this rose then? He said, I've got a stencil for a skull. So I ended it with a skull. And then I ended it with other roses instead. So my check, I'm literally just his like canvas that he is just coloring in. And then I'm starting a like an African wildlife leg sleeve.
Yeah.
So I've got a rhino and a zebra at the moment. But he kind of started going like one session to be on my chest, one session. So at the moment I've got a zebra with no ears. So I'm like, right, let's just finish the chest and then we'll work on the legs. So I've got so much more to come, but I love
the story. I mean, you can't beat the story of you telling why these all meant something to start. And then, you know what? They had a 2-hour session. So I'm in, and you need a canvas. And it was like, I really want a skull. What about a rose? No, you need a skull. All right, I'll take one.
This is it. And even now I've stopped telling my wife what I'm getting done, because even when I got the rhino, which I absolutely love, and I was going to get a rhino, like it's an African wildlife leg sleeve. So I was going to get one. I just didn't know where.
Yeah.
And I think I was going in for an elephant or something. And then I go in, and again, it's a similar thing. Because I really want to tattoo a rhino on someone. I was like, okay, so this elephant. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do a rhino. So my wife was like, oh, are you going for a tattoo? Yeah, show me when you get home, because who knows what I'm going to end up with or where that tattoo is going to be. One funny story though, every time I go and get tattooed, I get the mick taken out of me, because when he was doing this.
Yeah.
So have you got any tattoos?
Yeah, I've got like 4 or 5 of them now.
Okay, so sometimes it's like a shooting pain, isn't it? So you're getting tattooed here, and you think you're getting tattooed like here, like the pain kind of shoots.
Yeah.
So when he was doing this, which is a bit fleshy, it's not on the bone or anything like that, felt like he was doing my throat.
Yeah.
Like the pain was here. So he's tattooing me, and this was there was only 2 tattoo artists in, and I just said, oh, this is killing on the throat. So this girl who's getting tattooed on the other side, oh, he's brave getting his throat tattooed. And they just started, they're like, he's not getting his throat tattooed. It's not even anywhere near his throat. And like, so now whenever I go in and like say they're tattooing me like here, he'll just say, oh, does it hurt getting tattooed on your ear? And I'm just like, oh, come on. So now, like, yeah, it's basically a 2-hour session of a good friend of mine hurting me and taking the mick out of me for 2 hours.
So I have, I equate these as 2, but I have right here, my wife, my daughter, and then my oldest daughter, my son, and then I've got their names on the back. So 6, but 4 tests. But
yeah, I need to get Maver somewhere on me, but I'm still kind of deciding on where and what to get as well. I'm kind of I was thinking her name like on the inside of my arm there.
Yeah.
Because then I'm thinking, okay, so if I have 2 children, like I could get the other one there, and then it's like, what happens if I have a third? Like, they're going to be demoted to like the leg, So I have to kind of weigh up that and see what happens in the future. But yeah,
demoted to the. That's one way to put it.
Yeah, you were the third one. I've got a tattoo you on the bottom of my foot.
You get the leftover space.
Yeah, if you look at the rhino horn, you'll see your initials.
Did you see the skull? Yes, it's inside the nose. I'm just kidding. Oh man, so you and I we talked about we got to do this more often. We got to pick a topic and just start talking for like 30 minutes once every 2 weeks or something, and just see where the heck it goes. What do you think?
I love it. Yeah, let's do it.
I think we'll have a blast. We'll definitely get a huge laugh out of it. Hopefully the audience gets a huge laugh, because we don't know where it's gonna go.
No. So yeah, keep coming back, because we're just going to talk about anything and everything.
Oh, maybe we'll talk in depth about pens. Like, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So Matt, thank you so much for joining me, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, and keep doing what you're doing, because it's so good. It's really entertaining, really good fun, and I look forward to being a part of it and going along for the ride.
We're both going along for a ride. Everybody, Matt Batterbee, Global Head of Business Applications at Ingram Micro. My name's John Myer. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify, because guess what? We're out of here.